Namo Buddha Dharma Sanghaya. Once it so happened that a very learned nobleman started telling a story to the villagers. At the end of the first round of his story, everybody liked it. All of them stood and clapped. He told the same story again. At the end of the second time, only few people stood up and then clapped. Then he narrated the same story for the third time. No one stood up or clapped. Then he told it in very interesting manner. See, you were not able to appreciate the same good story again and again. You didn't feel moved by the same story to the same extent every time. So why on earth do you cry over the same suffering time and again? Just like you have to eat every now and then, just like you have to sleep every now and then, you have to live moment by moment. You don't have to ponder on the same topic and cry again and again. The next moment, you should cultivate a new thought and be engaged in it. That's the story in brief. Keep in mind that this life is meant for everyone to be in absolute peace and be filled with joy wherever you go. There are some distracting thoughts that come to our mind, but ultimately, we are the owner of our mind. It is optional, it is under our control whether to engage in painful thoughts or to engage in good thoughts. The heaven and hell are both here and now. People are enjoying heaven and hell when they are alive. When they die, they die. The physical body goes back to the soil. The pure soul goes away looking for another body. It embodies itself to another body and then continues its cycle in the samsara. Don't cling on to things that are not permanent. Children, parents, property, wife, wealth, all these are ephemeral. The time is so long. The process of life have continued. Thoma mepe dine dataibar. From the time unknown to the time unknown in the future, we shall remain in this universe constantly. There is no death, there is no birth. We just exist and sometimes cease to exist in the material form. But the absolute nature of man is not material. Man is not just the sum of food, water, and air that is there trapped in the body. Not only man, there is another driving force inside all the creation. Inanimate, animate, living or non-living. Don't you see that the growth of the tree happens from inside? The tree elongates itself from inside out. No one can do it from outside. There are no external forces acting on a plant so that it grows. The same power is there in all the bodies, including your body. The supreme power inside your body that causes the food to digest itself, then convert the digested food into all the components of the body that is required, and then maintain the composition of the body homeostatically, both by its concentration and by temperature and by size. There are trillions of activities happening just inside one cell, and there are billions of cells that together form a body. None of the cell itself is the complete body. This body is fault proof, which means even if some components of the body were lost, the life will continue to exist. This body will remain alive even if one or two of our organs fail. It remains alive when there are extra fingers, there is no problem. There are extra teeth and there is no problem. People are there with extra body parts like external pinna, extra ear like this. There can be some excesses like body weight can increase or decrease. The life will continue to exist even if the body is 100 kg, and when the person starts getting thinner, the life will continue to exist even if the body becomes as light as 40 kg. The same body. Physical body changes, but where does it change? In relation to what? What is that constant thing in relation to which everything else changes? That is called the Brahman or the Atma. That's the core nature of human being. It looks very easy to hear, but it is very difficult to grasp and understand. The moment you realize the essence of life, you have attained the Buddhahood. And people who have attained their Buddhahood are called enlightened, and they are known by very few features. One of the such features of enlightened being is that they blink their eyes very slowly. You might have observed this trait in Bhagavan Sri Rajneesh. There are very few people living on earth who have attained the Buddhahood. May the merits attained by making such kind of videos in the name of Buddha, Dharma and Sangha be distributed to all living organisms on earth. May every living being realize their self, know the absolute essence and be enlightened. Every body has a possibility to enlighten. Enlightenment is not something that you'll have to look from something outside. It is their innate nature of human being. But why don't all human beings appear enlightened? Is because they have grown a veil of ignorance around themselves. The very core, the essence of human being is enlightened because in the womb we realized the ultimate self. All of us had realized it. But as we were inside the womb, we heard people speak. We started learning things before we were born. Slowly we were born, and we were born in the world where people were all ignorant, and to be enlightened was no more possible, because once you get covered all around by ignorant people, the very knowledge you have should be hidden, and slowly the knowledge will disappear. All of you were enlightened the moment you were born, and that enlightenment remained for a long time. But slowly, the other part of the brain, which are the most recent development, start functioning abnormally. And by the age of 5, almost all human beings lose their enlightenment in life. Then they have become equal to animals from the perspective of people looking for their ultimate goal. Because for all human beings, the ultimate goal is to attain peace when they are alive and parinirvana when they are dead. Focusing only on what happens after death is also ignorance. Focusing only on what happens while we were alive is also incomplete. In the Buddhist tradition, both Hinayana and Mahayana, the focus is equally while we were alive and while we were dead. This practice is common even in Hinduism. Thank you for being with me. This is the dawn of Asia, His Holy Highness, the Omniscient of the East.